Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Quad Shot Podcast. This is episode number 11. Roan T, how you doing?
Roan T's in the building today, boys, ladies and gentlemen. Um, I'm doing great. I got a spin drift, sipping on a spinny.
Okay.
Already had two coffees today, two small hot lattes, both with a double shot. So 2 + 2 is 4.
Yep.
That's a quad shot. I'm good to go.
Okay, so you're buzzing off a quad. That's good. I'm glad that you incorporated 2 hot lattes into your morning routine before this podcast because I need you buzzing. I want you here. So
I'm always buzzing.
I got a Yeti today. It's a home stew. I went and steeped some yerba mate leaf in my French press, and I pressed it and then poured it into the Yeti, and now I'm sipping on it, and it is fantastic. Little squeeze of lemon and a little bit of
Sure.
honey. You stir it
That'll
up.
play.
Ah, God, yeah, it plays. So, yep, I got a backup as usual. Lemon spin drift. Why not? We like them cold. We like them crisp, and we keep them flowing. So. I'm your host, Aidan. This is Roan T. The usual
Hey, it's
Quad
Roan.
Shot podcast stuff. This is
The
us. We're
usual
back.
suspects.
Yeah, it's episode 11, and we're getting things kicked off as usual with the Buzz of the Day segment. And I believe, Ronan, it is your turn this week. So what do you have for us? I'm very excited.
What do I got for you guys? So, like Aiden said, I am covering Buzz of the Day today. It took me a little bit to come up with a Buzz of the Day for this week, not gonna lie. Was trying to come up with something good. Nothing really in the news lately or anything that kind of, piqued my interest over this last week. So I kind of went back to the book we're reading. Page 26. The Mountain is You. Here we go. Your new life is going to cost you your old one. It's going to cost you your comfort zone and your sense of direction. It's going to cost you relationships and friends. It's going to cost you being liked and understood.
Wow, that's good. It's good.
That's the harsh reality of completely 180ing or 360ing your current life, right? Like so much is going to change. Some of it, might be tough to deal with, but it's a necessary change
Yeah.
to live the life you're meant to live.
Right.
So,
Right.
what are your thoughts on this quote? Give me your feedback. What do you got?
I like that. I like that quote. And I like that it resonated with you because you are in a big transformation stage in your life, being out there. But for me personally, the way that I took that is, it's true. All those things, they go hand in hand in getting out of your comfort zone and growing as a person, right? Because remember, growth comes from getting out of your comfort zone. So once you start pushing yourself and once you start molding yourself into the person that you want to become, you're going to be faced with roadblocks, and you're going to be faced with situations that are new to you and are unfamiliar, right? And the first chapter of that book talked about that a lot. The unfamiliarity is scary, and we feel resistance towards that unfamiliarity because it's something that we're not used to, so we feel a little bit of resistance, and it's us pushing ourselves out of that comfort zone. Okay, and it can be scary at first, it can be weird, and it actually can be it can cause so much resistance that it in fact stops a lot of people from pursuing that and pushing through it and moving forward, when in reality on the other end of that is the person you want to become, is the goal you're trying to achieve, and is the information that you're trying to gain. So when you start incorporating this into your own life, you are going to lose friends. People are going to look at you differently. But remember, like, those people weren't meant for you in the first place.
Yep.
They served their purpose in your life
100%.
during that time, and now it's a new chapter and you're moving on. The people that are there for you in the moment, will always be there for you. You know who it is, at the end of the day. And sometimes surprises come, and you're like, wow, I never thought I would lose that person, right? But it's about acceptance and letting go, because at the end of the day, you are trying to improve you. And if you're following your heart and you're trusting yourself and you're taking the action necessary to follow your dreams, then you're going to surround yourself and attract the people that are meant for you and have always been there for you. You'll see that support from those type of people, and that'll show up.
Yeah.
That'll show up. Definitely. It'll be magnified and intensified, and you'll be able to see things a lot more clear. So I really do like that. It's true, man. Um, but yeah, it can be daunting, right? And I think that stops a lot of people from uh,
It is.
pushing past that, and
Yeah.
what's on the other
People
side
don't
is
like
greatness.
change.
Yeah, right.
Us, and this is what I've taken away from this book so far is as humans, we are meant to feel comfortable. We want to feel comfortable. That's who we are in nature, right?
Hmm.
So it's like everything that's like everything that changes in life and like is flows and is different. Like our human brain wants us to come back to what's comfortable. Like it might, it talks about in the book like your upper limit. Your brain's only going to allow you to have a certain amount of fun outside your comfort zone, and then it's going to bring you back down,
Yeah,
right? And it's about recognizing this, and this book has helped me do that. It's like your brains, there's a certain part of your brain that's going to want to always make you feel comfortable. So, and you're just going to be aware of that and keep pushing through those boundaries, just keep breaking through. And that's going to lead you to the life you want to live and get to, right?
yeah,
And I think, yes, us humans were meant to be comfortable, and that's why you see a lot of people, just kind of plateauing, right? Not changing because it takes a lot. It's almost like it's like a big tree, right? It's like a tree's been there for 100, 200 years, but once it starts to uproot, it completely uproots and it falls,
hmm,
right? So it's kind of similar to that. It's like it's so easy to be stuck in one place, right? So it's like, yeah, it's it's hard,
yeah,
a lot can change.
yeah. I mean, yeah, of course it's easy to be stuck in one place, but it's okay to. It's about perspective, right? You're never stuck, and it's if you're in a place for an extended period of time, but it's a place that you want to be, right? Then that's good. But just make sure that you're doing the work necessary around it to expand and grow further in that place, right?
Yeah,
Whether that place be a good example, like a business, right? You like the tree being there a long time, it would never grow to be as strong and as sturdy as it was if it wasn't there for that long, right? So we don't want you to just uproot your lives and change this and change that and do this and that, right? Because at the end of the day, it is about mastery. It is about self mastery, and that takes time. And that means you are going to have to be in that place for a while. And you're going to have to do the work. You're going to have to spend that time and you're going to have to focus, right? So you're going to have to drop those roots down and really get to work for sure.
yeah.
But
But
it's
sometimes is
about,
what I was trying to say is that you have to uproot sometimes
yes, if you're in a place
completely.
that you don't want to be, right?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
when it's scary, like if you get into a job, like you go to college, you get into a job and you're doing that job and you've been there for 8 years and you don't even really like the job and you don't even really like the people you work with and you're not
Yep,
passionate about it, right? You're pretty set in. That takes an uproot, right? You got to uproot, right? And you've spent so much time in that mastery, but it's not captivating you. It's not pushing you to, strive for better because there's no passion, right? And that's what it all comes back to is who like what kind of person do you want to be, and what does that person that you want to become, what is that person doing? What are you
yep,
doing with your life, right?
yeah,
And it's dude, there's so many factors that play into that, like the especially with the job thing, like leaving, financial security, um you know what I mean? But like that's tough, man. You're at a job for so
yeah.
long and you just kind of have to like
I also,
trust.
yeah, and I also another thing I like about this quote for Buzz of the Day is that what really like resonated with me is that it's going to cost you your comfort zone, obviously, like we all kind of know that by now, but and your sense of direction. Like
Mm.
I think that's necessary. Not even necessary. I think that kind of stuck out to me. Um, it stuck out to me because honestly, like when you're uprooting or you're leaving a certain area or you're relocating, you're moving, you're switching jobs, you don't have a sense of direction because you don't know what it's going to look like. It's that uncertainty. It's that complete like You almost feel like you're in a washing machine just getting tossed around. And you have to be okay with that because that's the only way you're going to change. It's not familiar to you yet because you haven't lived that life yet. You haven't gone out of your comfort zone,
Right.
you know? So like you have to lose your sense of direction in order to gain it back again and to regrow and
I love that.
reestablish those roots somewhere else, you know?
Fuck yeah.
And I don't know if my analogy about the tree was good, but
No, it was great because it
basically what I was trying to say is that sometimes when you're a tree and you've been rooted in the ground for so long, obviously a tree can't move after they're uprooted. But what I was trying to get at was if you've been there so long, it takes it the longer the tree's been there, the harder it is to uproot.
yeah.
So if you've been a tree for like 200 years or like your whole life doing the same thing, and it's gonna take it's kind of like it's just very challenging because like you have so much planted in one place. You've everything like it's almost like moving, right? You like your family's there, everything's there, your
Mm.
business, your job. It takes a lot to finally pull all those big roots are easy to pull out, but all those little like attachments you have from where you are, it's so it takes some time to kind of fully completely just uproot as a tree and go where you want to go, right?
Right,
So
and you
uh,
can definitely speak on that a lot because you're growing up on Cape Cod. Um, you went off to college. That's a big uproot for a lot of kids. That's a big transition. They've grew up their entire lives at home, with their parents. Obviously everyone's scenario is different, but to generalize things, right? That's like a big first uproot. And then moving forward, you went on and lived in Maine, right? And then you
yep,
came
went to
back,
Maine.
and then you came back to Cape, and then you went
Yep.
off to California. So you can definitely. I mean, I see why this resonated with you so much because um, you can relate to.
Like
You've lived it. So
yeah,
why don't you
I'm
tell
still
everyone like how obviously the California move was the biggest one. Like why don't you express to the viewers how and why this relates to you so much and kind of the emotions you experienced and coping mechanisms you used to help you through the big transition because you were alone as well. Like it takes a lot of a lot of bravery to do what you did, and you did it, and now you're reaping the benefits of doing it. So why don't you along the way,
for sure.
along the way.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Before I start and get into that and what's helped me and worked, I'll talk about so just something that resonated with me. Obviously, a tree up, in the ground for it takes a lot for those to, it's like moving. Like you still have attachments to your old home. Like I'm relating that to my current scenario because I'm still like going through trying to get um my truck like registered in California. Like there's still so much that I have back home, like I guess under my name that I'm still trying to get registered out here and like changing my address. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like it's a big move. It's not. There's so much that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still even 4 months in California. There's still a lot like of administrative like work that I'm doing on the back end to try to like replant myself here in California. So
Yeah, all
that's just to relate.
the little lizard work
Yeah,
you're doing, fucking running
yeah,
around. Yeah,
yeah. So I'm still doing that stuff. So it does take some effort, some time, and it's like, all right, do I, making sure that this is the right move, right? So
right.
a lot that goes into it. Yeah. So how did I deal with the move? How was that different from my other moves? So when I lived in Maine, it was pretty familiar with me. I guess it was more looking back on it now. I thought I was getting out of my comfort zone, but really I didn't because I went to college up there. I was very familiar with the area. I knew people up there. It wasn't really it felt kind of just like home, honestly. It was just home was only like 3.5 4 hours away. I used
Okay.
to drive home to the Cape a lot. So it wasn't like a big move for me, honestly. But out here for sure. I don't know. I mean, I don't know my roommate. I don't know the area. I just kind of sent it out here, right? So it's like I knew one person from high school. We're close now, but we weren't really close in high school at all. I didn't really know her. And she, she's doing her own thing. And then another person that I grew up with, she lives like half an hour away. So like not really in the area, but sort of in the area. Um, but basically, I moved out here not knowing anyone or not having a foundation or support system. Um, so I think I think my experience was a little different. Like I was ready for this move. I've planned this out. I knew I was going to do it. So like not it wasn't like I was scrambling when I was out here like trying to cope with, oh, I don't have someone in my corner. Like I was ready to kind of feel this way and be like new beginnings and meet new people and get out of my comfort zone. Like I was ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's what I need. It's what I needed. Um so I guess like in terms of like coping with it, I told my friend's giving story at the gym. Like, I guess that's kind of how I cope with it. I'm like, you know what? Like, you're out here, just go immerse yourself in the community, try new things,
Right.
um,
Right.
because that's the only way I'm gonna build that foundation out here is to
Well,
to get out in the community. So
what I meant a little bit, like emotional wise. What did you experience emotional wise? During the drive out, when you were sitting with your thoughts
I
and with
felt free,
yourself.
bro. I felt free. I felt like I just felt like I was ripping off a band-aid. I was fucking ready to go, man. I felt so good. That I love my trip across the country was so awesome. It was so like
Right, I was there for
liberating.
half of it. It was fucking sweet.
You were there for half of it, but even the first half, when I was like driving through Iowa and Nebraska, like just me myself, dude, I felt so proud of myself, and I was like so like excited to be on my own and my own journey. Like it
Right,
felt so good,
right.
you know.
Did you run
I was like,
into any roadblocks or like hard emotions to deal with when you were out there? Like you got all set up and like I had flown home and like the first month
you went home,
you
yeah.
that
I
transition, like did you run into any like specific emotions where like okay, this is like hard to deal with, and then how did you cope with those?
Good question. Let me think back on that. I think my whole life I've been preparing for this, like something for myself to challenge myself, and this is like, where I'm meant to be, and I know that, you know. So I don't think I was just ready from the jump. I felt good when I was out here. There wasn't a lot that I had to cope with. Like I was almost was like happy I was away from home, and I'm like, I can kind of replant my roots out here. So
Mm,
my experience is different from what other people experience.
right,
But I
yeah,
think
of
it just
course.
comes down to like me being ready to move out here. I already had a job, so there wasn't that like that pressure, anxiety to get a job or. So I was pretty stable already, and I knew what I wanted. So
Yeah,
I think that helped me be more confident in my decision, and then also like when I got out here, be more confident, like just going out, meeting people. Like I know who I am.
right.
It took me, and so that definitely having a good like sense of self helped. Being out here and like I'm not gonna like I met a few people here early on that like I was cool with, but I can just they're not my kind of people, type of people, and that's no shade to them. It's just I'm not gonna like fake a friendship or relationship with them. So
Of
like
course.
I just haven't really been in touch with them, but that's fine. Like I've been kind of like I know who I am. I know who I want to surround myself with. But yeah, it's just kind of been juggling. Like not even juggling, but it's great. It's like I can yeah I can kind of it's like
So
kind of free.
since you've been out there, and everything kind of being so fresh and so new, do you feel like it's been easier uh, to have more of a understanding of a sense of self? And like, do you feel like you've been able to kind of understand yourself more, that you're outside of the home bubble, Cape Cod comfortability, routine, the things you got used to out here, and now you're out in California in this fresh place surrounded by a bunch of new people, and like you said, like yourself, you're always yourself, and this is who you are, but you have an opportunity to almost uh, you know, sharpen that blade, fine tune yourself and who you are, how you want to present yourself on a day to day basis. And
Yep,
yeah, so since you've been out there, do you
agreed.
feel like you've been like have a better sense of self since you've made the transition?
I love that. That's a great question, my guy. Let me take a hit.
Go hit. Yeah, no, me too. I got a hit too, right?
Dude, I 100%. And that's what I think I'm so happy with out here is because like I've been able to grow like in the short amount of time in 4 months I've been here. I've already grown so much and learned more about myself than I did in like 2 years living up in Maine.
Right.
Because I'm ready for this. Like I just yeah.
Yeah. And you think being outside of your comfort zone has a big role to play in that?
For sure, because you figure out like, okay, how do I? There's certain situations that I haven't ever been in before that I've been in out here,
Mm.
and I'm like, oh, this is how I feel doing this. This is why, this is like who, I found out different things about myself that I didn't know before, and it's pretty
Right.
cool,
How you
you know.
naturally show up to a scenario that is completely new to you can tell you a lot about yourself, right?
For sure. So I think that's awesome. Just like, and man, I have fun with it. I enjoy doing things out of my comfort zone because learn more about myself. Um, and like I know I've got myself at the end of the day. So if I could just like be cool, like be good with myself, then it doesn't really matter then what other people think or how they perceive me or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean,
And I think that's a very powerful thing.
last week, I was on a really, I went for like a 4 mile walk just by myself, um, and I am just with my thoughts.
Yep.
I'm on a lonely trail. No one, there's nothing but nature around me. It's just me and my thoughts. And
Yep.
I realized during that walk that there are things about myself when I sit and it's just me and it's just myself and it's just my thoughts. There are things that make me feel uncomfortable. Um, and I actually was able to find peace with those things because um, I'm starting to apply more now. Being uncomfortable is growth. Being uncomfortable, there's an underlying reason as to why you are uncomfortable. Whether that underlying reason is conscious or unconscious, positive or negative, whatever it may be, there's a reason you feel uncomfortable. Okay? Whether it has to do with a certain, thought process or situation or whatever. So the thoughts that were going through my head at that time during my walk, I noticed I was starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yep.
And I realized, okay, why do I feel uncomfortable? Let me get to the root cause of that.
There's
And
always a root cause, man.
right, and then I can understand it more. And now this is giving me more knowledge, more coping mechanisms, more tools in the belt to address that certain emotion. And to take it even further, I have a little bit of a knee injury that I've been nursing back to health. During this walk, towards the end, I started feeling pain in my knee. And I realized that just like the thoughts in my head being uncomfortable, my knee is uncomfortable. And that's my body telling me something's going on down there. Okay, we're gonna send some inflammation down there. And that's why you're having this pain.
And that
Just
tells you that you need to fix that.
it
Because
tells me that something's going on, right? And I've also recently learned, shout out Andrew Huberman, and I've been implementing this into my own life, that inflammation is a positive thing. It's our body's response to localizing cells and making a busy, like say you hurt your shoulder and you feel pain, that's inflammation. It's because it's your body localizing healing in that area. And it's going to be a little busy there for a little bit while your body's healing itself, right?
yep.
So that inflammation, that pain, it's actually your body healing itself. So that perspective also had during this walk, I was able to apply that with my knee. When as my knee is hurting, I feel it, I notice it, but I remind myself that it's my body healing itself. It's localizing that pain, that inflammation. It's a little bit busy right now, but it's my body doing the work necessary to nurse me back to good health. So I've
Yep.
been applying that, and that's been really helpful. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I thought it was like a good way to look at it, and I
100%.
I have full trust that me shifting this perspective with my knee, rather than talking about it how I used to in the past, like, oh, my knee's hurt, been going to PT, fucking feels like it's not getting better, like all this external and internal talk,
Like
getting
yeah, like
frustrated, like, oh, my
Florenza.
fucking, yeah, just like, this, that, you know what I mean, fucking blah, blah, blah. And rather now shifting that, okay? Whether I'm talking to myself or I'm talking to someone else, shifting that perspective and talking about it in a different way, I have full trust that that's going to positively affect my knee physically, just like the shift of my thoughts and the way I
Hmm.
perceive them is going to affect mentally, right? So
100%, bro.
thought
100%, bro.
thought that was pretty cool, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and hopefully you can utilize that. I
Now
was
let's segue into buzzing books. We're gonna talk about chapter
oh,
2 of The Mountain Is You,
do you
and that's
like
how we're
that
gonna round
name,
out this
John?
podcast. Buzzing books,
I
yeah.
love that name, right? Buzzing
I love
books.
buzzing books. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but we're gonna still keep
No,
it
no,
because we
no, 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 no,
fucking
no,
know.
no. Because
No, it doesn't.
we're
It doesn't.
buzzing on books, right?
Fine. Let's buzz books.
We're buzzing on
What?
books. So, I mean, the buzz of the day was awesome. Thank you for bringing that to the table. And yes, it did have to do with the book, but it's what came up for you this week, and that's totally fucking genuine, natural, and beautiful, and I love it. I appreciate you bringing that to the table, my man.
Hey, appreciate you.
Now let's segue
Okay,
that
awesome.
into Buzzing Books, Chapter 2, The Mountain is You, Brianna Weist. How are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I got something.
Let's go.
I got some. Okay, so this is a great chapter. I learned a lot. I highlighted a lot in the book. So we're going to go through that chapter with you guys today to round out this episode of this podcast. Aiden's moving on to a spindrift. Attaboy. That's a good call.
Hit.
Um, hit. Chapter 2. There's no such thing as self-sabotage. Okay. That's the title of the chapter.
Thank you.
Let's just go through a few points that I wanted to talk about here, and then we can kind of get into what you got.
Oh, wait. I'm going to interrupt. I'm sorry. Just want to clarify again that Ronan is reading a physical hard copy of the book, and he is underlining and highlighting, and that's the way that he retains the information, and that's the way he enjoys to do it, right? So whether he's at home reading or he's sitting somewhere in the sun reading, wherever on a bench, whatever, that's how he retains his information, right? This is different for everybody. I listen to audiobooks, okay? And the way that I listened to chapter 2 was I was on a walk on the beach with my headphones on, and I just, every time something would come up that I'd want to write a little note on, I'd stop, pull out my phone, and write a note down, okay? And that's the way I retain information. I like listening, receiving, and then inputting it into a note form that is personalized to me and I can digest. So the way that, going through this book, if you're reading along with us, that's awesome. I encourage you to, take notes and read it or listen to it the way that works best for you. So, yeah, just wanted to start with that. Chapter 2, Roan, what do you got?
Let Roan go here. Roan T.
Teabag.
Sometimes related kind of buzz of the day. A lot of people don't, want to uproot because sometimes we run our lives on autopilot for long enough that we begin to think we no longer have a choice.
Wow.
Yeah, it's true, man. I've seen it. You've seen it.
So
what else
true.
do we got?
So true.
Yep.
That's a good one, man. Because it's easy. Let's stay on this for a little bit. It's easy to realize you are autopiloting once you're out of it. But during the autopilot, it's hard to say I'm autopiloting, right? Because you're just fucking going through the motions.
You're in autopilot.
In it, right? So let's extract that. Let's notice and ask yourself this question. Am I autopiloting? And fucking stop. I don't give a shit how you got to do it. Let's go, baby. Ron T, what else you got for me? Keep it cooking.
Yep. Being successful can make you less liked. Finding love can make you more vulnerable. Making yourself less attractive can guard you. Playing small allows you to avoid scrutiny. And that's what I realized that I suffered with my OCD intrusive thoughts back in baseball because I didn't want to be scrutinized or I was fear of being successful because I wanted to be safe, comfortable, guarded. And now I know that about myself and I'm like on a path to fucking break through those barriers because
dude,
I want to live the life I want to live.
So
and I want to be successful.
It's so interesting to me because I, in my personal life, have not experienced that.
Okay.
And it's actually very intriguing to me that you've experienced it. And now, just a book we decided to, read and do on our podcast that you're able to relate and someone else brought it up as a specific example, and you're able to relate it to your own life. Because I
Yeah.
don't know, I just think it's really, really cool
And
because like I said, I never would have thought like that
hmm
someone could have gone through that, like experienced those emotions, like they're self-sabotaging themselves by
yeah.
um, being afraid
Uh,
of the limelight or the being
yeah.
afraid of the success or the love you
Yep.
receive, right? Which is
Yep. Also,
yeah.
when you begin to surpass, I talked about this a little bit on the buzz of the day. When you begin to
T, I just had a spill
where
everywhere. Okay, go ahead.
when you begin to surpass your upper limit, you start to unconsciously sabotage what's happening in order to bring yourself back to what's comfortable and familiar. Right? I was talking about everyone has that threshold of how uncomfortable they want to make themselves or are,
Yep.
and then everyone eventually comes back down to their comfortability zone. Right?
Right.
And it's our job as free thinkers and motivated human beings to push past that and reach for those stars, go to that North Star, and figure it out on the way.
Okay.
Right? There's going to
Yes.
be moments of uh, being uncomfortable, and but that's okay. We are well equipped to deal with that, and every human being on this planet is well equipped to deal with those emotions. They just decide, or maybe unconsciously, like we talked about autopilot, decide not to push past those limits because it's the easiest um, form of existing. But we're on this journey together as Quad Shot Podcast is to motivate everyone to push through those upper limits and shoot and chase their dreams and become the best version of themselves,
Go
even
for the
if it's
brass ring,
uncomfortable.
baby. Go for the brass
Go
ring.
for the brass ring.
So I
Let's
want to
go.
touch on that because I threw that in my notes and it was touching to me as well. So yeah, what I wrote down here was anything outside of your realm of comfort feels threatening or scary until you are familiar with it. Okay. So talking about that upper limit, right? So I forget the exact guy that she said, but there's someone specific out there that created this ideology of an upper limit. So humans have a capacity of how happy they can be. It's like and it's created, you create it yourself. So this upper limit is the limit of your happiness. This is as happy as you can be. And when you push past that, when you surpass that as a human being, you become uncomfortable. Funny enough, even though you're doing things that make you happy, when you're reaching past and foregoing that upper limit, you're going to become uncomfortable because it is unfamiliar, right? This even if it's happiness, it is still uncomfortable because it is so unfamiliar, right? So it's she said it's about slowly adjusting and adapting into your new comfort zone and gradually shifting that baseline and
Yep.
gradually setting that bar
Yep.
higher and higher and
Yep.
higher. So
Mm-hmm.
your upper limit is growing. As
Yep.
you grow as a person, your upper limit is growing. So now you have more capacity for happiness. Now you have more capacity for love. Now you have more
Yep.
capacity for the things that bring you joy, creativity, all these things. You're allowing more space for it, and you're doing
Yep.
the work necessary. So I liked that a lot, T. What else you got for me? Come on.
Sometimes we fight endlessly to try to force ourselves to want something that we do not really want, and it always leaves us empty because it isn't a genuine desire. I think a
Can
lot of
you
people do this.
repeat that? I'm sorry.
Just think about your 9 to 5 job that everyone hates.
Yep.
This quote relates.
Okay.
Sometimes we fight endlessly to try to force ourselves to want something that we do not really want, and it always leaves us empty because it isn't a genuine desire. And I see a lot of people out there doing that.
Yeah.
It's like on the hamster wheel. They're on the hamster wheel. They're comfortable. They're on autopilot. They don't want to break free because they're worried about scrutiny from their family members. Maybe you're not going to make a lot of money. Maybe not. You don't have that consistent income anymore because of that, right? You've got to break through there because maybe on the other side, a pot of gold's waiting for you. God damn it, motherfucker!
A pot of
Come
gold.
on.
He's buzzing now. I love it. No, it's true,
Now I'm
man.
going.
It's true. And I
Now
feel
I'm
like
pissed. Now I'm pissed.
playing into that a lot is expectations from people in your life, expectations that you have for yourself. I feel like expectations can kind of mold and shift, your future.
Mhm.
especially as children. In high school, you have a decision to make. College, you have to pick a major. Okay? It's a big decision and you're very young. So you're drawing information and inspiration from the people that set expectations around you, like your father, your mother, your parent, your guardian, your uncle, your aunt, your fucking brother, your sister, whoever the fuck it was for you. They have expectations uh, kind of molded around your life already kind of solidified for you. So now let's say let's just use this as an example. Your dad or your mom, they're saying, "Look, Johnny, I want you I want you to go to this
Rocket.
I want you to go to this college and I want you to major in this finance, psychology, whatever. And I want you to go do this." And at the time, you're thinking, okay, you're trying to think for yourself. It's hard. And then little Johnny goes off to college. He does 4 years in whatever major his parents thought would be a good idea for him. And he trusted in that. And now, 2, 3, 4 years later after college, he graduates, he gets a job, and he's in this job, and he realizes, I don't want to do this shit.
Yeah, and then he's
I'm not
wasted 4 years of
happy.
his life.
Yeah. So, no, it's not about the time wasted. It's about coming to the realization that you are where you are because of these factors. So going back to that root cause, little Johnny says, "Okay, these expectations were put on me young. I followed that. Okay, I made these decisions because of this." And it comes back to yourself at the end of the day, right? But now, little Johnny, what the fuck are you gonna do to get yourself out of the situation? Well, first and foremost, little Johnny, you need to figure out what it is you want to do. What makes you happy? What fuels you? What do you care about? What are you passionate about? What are you curious about? Dive into that realm and then get an answer. Okay?
Can I
And
add something real quick?
yes, of course.
How do we resolve this? You might ask. We might ask.
Yep.
Be willing to accept that maybe your success story doesn't look the way that you once thought it might.
Hmm.
Okay? When we let go of what isn't right for us, we create space to discover what is.
It's true. It's true. So little Johnny now he's letting go. He's letting go of the resentment he has towards his parents for having those expectations and putting him in the position that he was. That's placing blame. When little Johnny, it was always up to you, brother. You just didn't know what to do, right? He's
Yeah.
letting
Buzz,
go
buzz
of
cut.
he's letting go of that resentment he has towards himself for the time that he spent on something that he doesn't even
Forgiveness.
want to do. Okay? But what can he do? How can he be proactive? He can think about all the things that he has learned along the way through this journey that little Johnny has lived. Now he can utilize those skills that he gained from these situations, even though it was something that he didn't want to do and he's put all this time in and now he's going to uproot and do something else. He still has gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills, okay, along the way to help him, now achieve what he truly wants to do, right? So, how do
And
you
I will
resolve
argue,
this? Okay.
listen here,
Uh
listen
huh.
here, quad shot Jama, listen here. And I will argue that almost is at some times and at some point, maybe someone needs that. Maybe you need to go through something that you don't like, right? Or you go through these 4 years of kind of that identity that you're trying to create that's not you. And then you finally get to that breaking point and you realize, oh, this isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you learn about all this, everything that comes along with like kind of redefining who you are, right? You learn how to forgive. You forgive those people that told you to do that. You forgive yourself. You recreate. You accept where you're at. You let go of that past self, and then you start to rebuild, right? It's like put that puzzle together. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do, right? It's all that rebuilding, and maybe that's that hardwiring your DNA to kind of reconstruct who you are, right? That's a good break. That's good practice.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of
like I said, I
course.
know I said that's a 4 years of waste of your life, but it's really not, right?
It's not.
You learned all these valuable lessons. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me. There's one more thing in this chapter that I want to touch on, and then I'm going to let you have at it. How about that?
No, we're gonna keep bouncing off it like a buzz cut. Let's go.
We do not get better, only to get worse again. We do not achieve one thing, only to lose it and return to what we were before. That instinct is a self-sabotaging behavior. One that wants to keep us within our old comfort zone.
So what does that mean to you?
What does that mean to me? I think all the work that I've put in on myself and all the hard work that I've put in and trying to become the best version of myself, I don't have time. I owe it to myself to never go back to those ways. I owe it to that work that I've put in, right? All that, all that work that I put on myself, that I don't have time. I can't go back.
There's no need to go back. You've already been there and
No
taken
need to go
away.
back.
You've taken away everything you need to from that situation, right?
Yep.
It's
So,
the same thing. I'm going to go back to little Johnny now. It's the same thing with little Johnny, right? It's the same thing, okay? So now he's at a point in his life where he's working this job, but he knows that he doesn't want to do it. So, like I said, now he needs to extract what it truly is that he wants to do, and now he needs to start implementing structures and a game plan step by step as to how he can start making this a reality, okay? He can't just maybe he can just up and quit his job and do all this, but right, this chapter was about taking things slow, step by step, okay? Because that is how you stay consistent. A lot in this chapter she brought up like an example, like in the gym. She was saying, she said, if you have gym goals, it's not about the structure that you build anymore. Like, you can build a perfect structure. You can build a perfect plan. You could do all these things so perfectly, right? And have it on paper. But it gets to a point where it's no longer about what structure you've built. It's about how many times did you actually follow it? Did you actually follow that structure, right? So she mentioned something about going to the gym. She says, don't slam this big slab of meat on your plate, like this big structure. Just throw it in the mix. Like, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to be there for an hour, and I'm going to do all this shit Monday through Friday. I'm going to eat good, and I'm going to do all this shit, right? Don't just throw that fucking slab of meat into the mix, or slab of veggies, whatever your poison is, right? Don't just throw that into the mix, okay? Implement things slowly, okay? But it's literally about showing up, okay? And she talked about this a lot in the chapter. It's, perfectionism. She touched on this, okay? I struggled with this in my own life. I want to do things right the first time. I want to build that structure. I want to hit that structure. And I want to, this is very personal for me. I experienced this a lot in my life. Like, I have made that perfect structure, and I failed a lot in a lot of different realms. Okay, diet, gym, playing the guitar, going on walks, so many different things that I know I love to do, and I build a structure around it and a game plan to attack it, and I end up not doing it because I fail. And then everything kind of just crumbles and falls to pieces. So it's about starting slow, and it's about implementing things slowly into your life. So if you want to go to the gym and you want to start going to the gym, show up on the days, just start on the days you want to show up, Monday through Friday. Show up. It can be 15 minutes. Just fucking walk through the door and do something. Okay? You could fucking spin like a ballerina in the goddamn corner. But show up, man. Show up and start slow.
Show up.
Okay?
You spend more of your time worrying, ruminating, and focusing on what you hope doesn't happen than you do imagining, strategizing, and planning for what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, dude. So, yeah, remember, just implement things slow. And that's a good point, too. Like, she did talk about this a lot in the chapter as well. The worry of the perception of how you're perceived by other people, right? And allowing yourself to understand that we are all human, okay? And if we as an individual sit and worry about what someone else is thinking about us, which, first of all, you'll never know. You're never going to know what that person's thinking, if it's even about you, right? Even if you have a conversation with them, you'll still. So,
True, bro.
so we're all human, right? And we're all, so that person that you're worried about them looking at you and what they're thinking about you and judging you, they're probably, maybe not, thinking the same thing about you. Okay?
For real,
So
bro.
you're, it's, and she talked about letting that go. Let that
You were
go. Let go of
you
the
were wait
perception. What's that?
you were waiting for someone else to open a door, offer approval, or hand you the life you have been waiting for. No, we're ripping that door off that fucking hinges ourselves, and we're gonna create that door. We're gonna step through with certainty, honesty, integrity,
Yep.
dignity,
100%.
confidence.
100%. And that's, yeah, that's a good point, right? Taking that step and attacking it with honesty and integrity. But right, you're bound to fail. You are bound to fail. Just like with the gym example, you will fail. Okay? You will fail when you build these structures. But listen, she said this in the book and it is fucking so important and it fucking resonated with me
Li-
to my
Listen up,
bones.
quad audience. Listen up, quad shot.
There's a difference between failing because you are trying something new and are inexperienced, and failing because you aren't showing up and doing the work at all.
Fucking
Separate
right.
separate that between those two failures. You have to separate those failures because there's a difference, right? If I'm like Ronan trying to learn how to surf and he keeps on failing on the pop-up every time, but he's there and he's doing the work necessary and he's grinding, okay? But he showed up and he's doing the work, but he's failing, okay? Now the other side of things, the other side of failure, okay? The bad kind, the failure you do not want in your life is Ronan never even fucking woke up for his 5 a.m. alarm to go even surf with me. He just said fucking smash that button, boom. I don't want to go surf. You didn't even
Yeah.
show up. But,
Nope.
on the other end, he woke up, drank his coffee, put his wetsuit on, and now he's improving his surf skills, okay? So I've really, really loved that a lot. And fail for the right reasons, right?
What else you got? Keep talking. Preach. Preach.
But
Come
yeah,
on, Abruzzi.
I really did like this chapter. She also touched on
There was so much in here, dude.
it was a really jam-packed chapter. Uh, she touched on a clean, organized living and workspace is essential to creating opportunities. Implement a routine that maintains that cleanliness within your
You're great at
workspace
that.
and your life. I know, I love that shit. But I think it is really
Especially
important.
when you want to go lizard.
I think it really is important, right? You got to be able to operate smoothly, right? And I'm the same way at work with my barber tools, man.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has a spot, a home. Okay?
Yeah.
A dedicated home. I
Like,
know where it's going to go, and I know when it goes there it's going to be cleaned, sanitized properly and fully charged the next time I go to use it. So having that clean space, it's just going to create a well lubricated machine and efficient, so you can have an area, you know, to go and work and be efficient and get your work done and be consistent. And then when you come home, things are taken care of and you're in a safe and a safe space, a warm, kind, welcoming space that's clean. And yeah, I love that. I think it's really important. I'm a big advocate on that. Okay.
no, and I know you are.
But yeah,
What else?
we touched a lot on chapter 2. I think there was a lot, but I think we're getting near the end of our podcast. But I think we touched on things that resonated with us the most, and that's why I encourage other people to read the book, right? Because what resonates for me is different. Like your notes are different than mine. Your notes are different than mine. So viewers, read the book or listen to the book, right? And take your own notes because it's going to be different for you, right? I'm not you and you're not me. Things that we're going through and the things that I'm going through in my life are completely different from the things that you are going through in yours. So what you're going to take away from this book and the knowledge that it has is going to be completely different than what I take away from it. All I can do is share my point of view and my experience and hope that you can take something from that. And that's why we
Yep.
show up here. That's why we do the buzz of the day segments, little things that we
The
like.
buzzing with books. Buzzing books.
Buzzing books, like that's why we do this. But remember, like it comes back to you and it's going to be different, right? But yeah, man, I really really appreciate you, showing up today, doing the pod with me. I loved all the insight as always, my man. It was awesome, hearing
Appreciate you too, dude.
it's dude, it's
We're,
funny
we're
seeing
finding
your perspective on the book. We're reading the same words, but it's such a different meaning for us.
Very true. And that's
It's
with
cool.
everyone. That's what makes everyone unique, and that's why we want you guys to follow along and at least take something from this, right? So,
Yeah.
a little housekeeping at the end here. We just launched our website.
Oh,
I
Rome
don't know if you want
T.
to talk. I don't know if you want to
Yeah.
dive into that at all, or
Yeah. So, working on it for a little bit now. We were in between what platforms and stuff we wanted to use, and we finally decided on one, and we created a website. And I think we're all really proud of it. I think we did a really good job, and
shout out Ado.
it looks good. It looks
Clean.
good. It feels good, and it's gonna be good moving forward because we're gonna be able to customize it the way we want. And on that website, on our Instagram, and we'll throw it out here on the pod too. Obviously, we're gonna have merch coming soon. So
Hey guys, be on the lookout for merch. I mean, this is big. This is big. You've got to be in our good. We might have something free coming for y'all out there. We don't know.
Special viewers. Special viewers.
Special viewers. We might have something coming your way. So if you guys want some quad shot merch,
yeah.
you better
So
be tuning in.
we're gonna obviously throw that the way you're gonna be able to purchase our merchandise when it does drop is through our website, right? So
Heck
that's gonna bring you to everything you need to get that. And yeah, we're gonna have t-shirts and sweatshirts. We're gonna start there, and we're gonna start out with one design, pretty mainstream,
Our
straight
logo.
to the point. Our logo and Quad Shop Podcast. Like, just keep an eye out for some colorways and some funky stuff because we have a lot of ideas, logos and fun stuff we want to incorporate into the merch. But we're gonna start out simple, and we're gonna drop
many
it soon.
merch drops. First of many merch drops. Okay.
First of many. So we're excited, really, really excited about that. So yeah, go check out our website and keep an eye out for merchandise coming. Yes, and let us know, as always, what you think. In our website, okay, we have created a portal where you can contact us. And why we created that, as we as we express at the end of every episode, we want you guys to be with us. We want you guys, this is a community. We want your opinions. We want your ideas. We want you to send love. We want to talk to you guys. We want all this because we love you guys and we care about you guys and we appreciate you guys to our core because you guys are the ones that we do this for, right? We do it for ourselves and we do it for you. That's why we show up and we film and we do what we're doing. Okay, so
we do it for ourselves because we want to be our best version of ourselves so we can have valuable insight for you.
Right. And yes, our community, we love you guys. So go check out the website.
We want to uplift everyone together. Let's go.
So you can go to our website and you can go into that little footnote at the bottom there. It's at the about us and then the contact us. So
let us know.
Contact us. Let us know. As always, guys, what's up?
Also, we're also going to start doing events, meetups. This is down the road, but I'm just saying, we have a big plans for this thing.
Yep.
And we're going to get everyone involved. We're going to have the community involved. It's
going
to be amazing.
It's going to be great.
It's going to happen. So we're going to start small and we're going to keep building. So
we're going to keep
merch
building.
Coming out. Website's launched. Maybe JMO could put that,
Yeah. Let's link it, JMO.
Link the JMO link.
Quadshoppodcast.net. Link it.
Yeah. So good. I thought. Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, it was a great episode. Great episode.
Yep.
Remember, guys. Okay, so remember this. Okay, your inner fire is always there. It's always lit like a pilot, right? Like a gas stove. The pilot's always lit. You just gotta ignite it, okay, and maintain it, right? I believe in you guys. I love you guys.
We believe in y'all. Let's go.
Follow your dreams. Chase
See
your
you next
dreams.
time.
Quad Shop Podcast. See you guys next time, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Signing off.